How's everyone doing? Cal Zane back with another video, and today I wanted to talk about the subclasses in Destiny 2, what we've seen in the beta, and the classes, subclasses, and how they stack up for PvP and PvE, and kind of rate them on where I find them in usability for both activities. So, starting off, we have the Titan, because I think overall the Titan was the most well-rounded for all scenarios for PvP and PvE, and I found that the Sentinel subclass was by far the most usable subclass for both activities, PvP and PvE, while Striker was still fun for ad clearing in PvE and fun for those multi-takedowns in PvP, and I found it very useful for those situations where you're facing multiple enemies. I found that the Sentinel was by far more usable in terms of its utility, kind of like I thought it would be. You can use it for ad clearing or you can pop the bubble, but from what I found out, it's not as overpowered as I thought it was, because I thought in the middle of your super, if you were getting taken down, you could just pop a bubble, but you can't. You have to pick right at the beginning of your super, before you activate it, whether you want to do the bubble or whether you want to do the shield. And I found for certain situations in PvP, like the boss fight at the very end of the strike, I found that the bubble was more useful than the shield, because you could put it up on a higher vantage point and it would kind of keep you from being stomped inside the bubble, and it would help you regenerate health and help your team just generally stay alive. Although the Sentinel's shield was useful, getting that close to the enemy or getting that close to the boss will get you stomped and will almost definitely get you killed in a lot of scenarios. So it wasn't as usable in that terms as I thought it'd be in PvE, but it was definitely a very usable class, and I think that overall it had a really good feel to it. So I really am liking Titan, and I wasn't the biggest Titan fan in Destiny 1. So seeing that it's ultra usable and very comfortable and fun to use in Destiny 2 is very exciting. So I think I'm actually going to main Titan at the start. I've got some friends that are both maining Hunter, and my wife is talking about maining either Hunter or Warlock. So to kind of balance that out, I'm going to play Titan, and I think I use it the most during the beta, and I really found it enjoyable. The movement was really nice, the abilities were really usable, and it felt all around comfortable. So now we're going to move on to the Warlock, which I think takes the second place for class in terms of usability and utility in Destiny 2 for its overall use. Now, for PvP, I would highly actually recommend using Voidwalker over Dawnblade, just because if you've got right now the way enemies stack up, they all want to team up, and it's all about getting team shot and everything. So if you throw the Nova Bomb, you can take an entire team out all in one spot, and you can do it a whole lot quicker than you actually can with the Dawnblade if you time it right. If you catch them off guard and blow the whole team up all at once, you'll definitely have a leg up. If you don't, and you basically wait too long or try it from too far back, you probably miss a lot of them because they'll get out of there real quick. But at the same time, that's the problem with the Dawnblade, because when you use the Dawnblade, the projectiles can be fairly easily dodged in certain scenarios. So if you use the Dawnblade right on top of enemies, there's a chance that you can get the leg up and win that fight. But at the same time, unless they're all clustered right on top of each other, you're going to hit one, then the next, and by then you might have some that scatter off. So for PvP, I would definitely recommend doing Voidwalker. I thought it was the most comfortable. The only thing I missed on the Voidwalker that was on the Dawnblade was the mid-air dodge, which is basically like Twilight Garrison on Warlocks. So that one thing was missing, but aside from that, everything else felt really good. So for PvE, I think both of them are very viable. I think for damage output and ad clearing, they're both highly usable. I found it fun using both, and I really didn't see any areas where one had any major shortcoming over the other, because the way the Nova Bomb functions now, or at least it did on that bracket, was it moved slow, it hit hard, and then it shattered or splintered off into what looked like many Axiom Volts. So, I mean, it's really not it's really good for ad damage and for boss damage and ad clearing. If you've got ads surrounding the boss, you can do a little bit of both. The Dawnblade, again, you get the projectiles, you get the flying motion. For the Strike boss, both of them were really good because they both trigger in the air, but I found that the Dawnblade felt a little bit more comfortable being able to dodge midair, stay in the air, and avoid those stomps in the very last damage phase. So, both of them, highly usable. I highly recommend playing both. They felt very comfortable. The only issue I actually had with Warlock at all in terms of gameplay is the glide felt very, very slow, and it was very hard to maneuver. And it's not like it is in Destiny 1 where you can basically just glide over top of people and counter them as quick. It's a little bit slower. You can still do it, but it also makes you an easier target. So that comes into personal preference on that. But that's the only thing really I felt that was holding the Warlock back. That and the availability on resilience on the armor. And I'm going to get into that too with the Hunter. Because when it comes to resilience, the Titan was the only one that had really, really high resilience. And that was with the PvE armor and the starting armor. Now, the Crucible armor for all three classes was geared toward mobility. So, it's not actually the most usable. I don't know. I couldn't notice that big of a difference when I maxed or tried to max out mobility and recovery. I didn't notice nearly as much of a difference as I noticed with the resilience. So I would say for the final release, if they keep them labeled that, I would like to see them just go back to armor, strength, or armor, agility, and recovery, just because that's what people in D1 are familiar with. But either way, it's same thing. But max out your resilience or your armor. I think that'd be the best bet for you guys. So now we're going to take a quick look at the Hunter, which was the very last one I played as. And I'm sorry I didn't prepare this video a little bit better. I should have had subclass breakdowns for you guys and gameplay from all three in the background. But I didn't think about that when I was recording gameplay. So I just got just some of my gameplay going in the background. Hope you guys enjoy it. And there's some of my not so good matches. But when it comes to Hunter, I felt that in PvE, both were very lackluster. In PvP, both were very usable, but I felt like the best option with Hunter was the Arc Strider, or Pole Dancer, as people are calling it. It felt the best. It was nice. It was fluid. It hit hard. And especially in PvE, when you run into like that one encounter where it drops down all the war beasts, and you can basically melee, dodge, melee, dodge, melee, dodge, melee, dodge, and do it back and forth if you have Gambler's Dodge on, and just really tear through them pretty quick. As long as you're avoiding getting hit as much, you can pretty much just melee and dodge them all. So that's really neat that you can do that with those. In PvP, I would say Marksman's Dodge is a little bit more useful for the fact that melees are nowhere near as strong as they used to be. But that comes again down to personal preference. But for the super, in PvE, Arc Strider is a serious win because it seems like the Gunslinger just really does not have the damage output that it should. And I think that it actually needs a buff, and a major one at that. But in terms of both, I would say for both encounters, use Arc Strider. Gunslinger in PvP would be fine, and it's fun. And if you're out on patrolling something, then maybe Gunslinger would be useful there. But unless they really seriously buff it, I would say that Gunslinger is really just a non-option for PvP or PvE. It's just really not as usable. So, alright guys, that's going to cover it for this. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you liked the video, hit that like button down below. Down in the comment section, tell me what you thought was the best class in your opinion, and which one you're going to main when Destiny 2 comes out. I'm going to be maining Titan, which is a big change for me because I main Warlock in Destiny 1. And Titan's the one I use the least, so I'm really excited to get hands-on with it. So let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date on everything I post up here on the channel. And until next time, guys, I'll catch y'all later, and I will see you in the next one.